Hello, and welcome to my reading of my book, Missionary Life with Billy and Joe Wilson. Today I will be reading chapter 19. It's now June 2007, and it's time for our furlough. We had decided that instead of living in one of the houses that was provided for North Texas missionaries, that we would find an apartment close to Billy's parents' home. They were both having some health issues, and we just felt that for this year, we should try to live close to them and help them do some repairs to their house that they had been living in since Billy was just a boy, about 10 years old. It needed painting. The floor had a weak spot that needed repair, and the bathroom could use a makeover. So when we found an apartment just down the road from their house, it was perfect. Well, except we had no furniture. One of our pastor's wife worked in an insurance office, so I went in there one day to get insurance started on our car. This pastor's wife's name was Marilyn Fitch. We had known each other and had been friends a long time. While in her office, she asked me for the address of where we would be living this year for our furlough. I told her about the apartment and how we were on our way to Springfield, Missouri to attend School of Missions required for all missionaries when we were home on furlough. But when we returned, we would go to the thrift stores and the secondhand furniture stores and get all the necessary items we would need to set the apartment up. But when I told her this, she said to me, "Leave the key to your apartment with me, and I and my ladies from our church will furnish it and have it waiting on you when you return." Oh my, what a blessing they were to us. She did just as she said, and we had a beautiful apartment, fully furnished for that year. Also, a lady that I didn't even know, but she was friends with my great-nephew, was moving from her apartment into her new husband's home, and she told my nephew to tell me to come into her apartment and take any dishes or small appliances that I might need, as she would not need them any longer. So I was able to get glasses, dishes, casserole dishes, cookware, and silverware, all without any cost. All of this just confirmed to us that we were doing the right thing to be near Billy's parents for this furlough. Sure enough, we had not been there very long when we received a phone call one night that Billy's mother had fallen. Billy was able to rush over there and be with them as they had to call the ambulance to come for her. They had to do surgery as she had broken her leg, and she spent several weeks in the hospital. From there, she had to be put in a rehabilitation home until she was able to walk once again. We were so glad to be near to help her and Billy's dad through this ordeal. In fact, our whole year we spent there, we never regretted choosing to rent an apartment near his parents. By now, Jason was in the Army, and Jennifer and her family, her husband and 2 children, lived in Arizona. We went to visit them while at home, and once they came and visited with us. But in July 2007, it was time to return to Rwanda. It was difficult to leave Billy's parents as both of their health had declined, but Mom was home from the rehabilitation place and back home with Dad, and they were thrilled to be together. The house was repaired and looking nice for them, so we felt good about leaving. We absolutely loved Rwanda. We loved the beauty of the country. The climate was pretty much the same all year round, with only rainy seasons and dry seasons. There was no fall, no winter, no spring, and hardly ever really warm days. Just the right temperature all year. We also loved the people so much. And then, of course, the ministry was always so rewarding. So far, we had been there nearly 11 years. We had 5 pastors that were working on their master's degree, and one pastor was working on his doctorate. So during this term, which was 4 years, 2008 until 2012, we both began to have the feeling that God was finished with our work in Rwanda. So many pastors were becoming very capable of doing the same work that Billy was doing. And we talked about it often without really making a decision. Should we retire? It was a bit early in life to be retiring, but the closer we drew to the end of that term, the more we knew without a doubt our work in Rwanda was no longer needed. It was during this time that we heard about the Live Dead initiative within the Assemblies of God. Live Dead consists of a team going into an unreached people group to take the gospel. This group is usually unreached with the gospel for a reason. Either it's a very difficult place to reach physically, or it's a place where they are sometimes even hostile to the gospel. This interested me and Billy very much. We felt to go somewhere where the gospel had never been taken. And that was what was truly needed the most right now. But where should we go? We started praying about it. And in our daily evening devotions that we always had together, we started reading a devotional book, just printed, called the Live Dead Journal. At the end of each chapter, there was the name of an unreached people group and the country that they were from. When we read about Madagascar and the many unreached people groups that it had, our hearts were touched. Could this be where God was calling us to go next? We only knew at that moment that we both felt the same way. And so we just prayed and we told no one. Not long after that, Greg Beggs, our area director, came to Rwanda for a visit. That night after dinner, we sat around talking with Greg. We didn't mention Madagascar, but only that we felt God was finished with us in Rwanda. We had been there almost 15 years and witnessed the new birth of the country, so many churches and pastors now well educated and very capable of leading. We asked Greg if he thought the Live Dead group could use us as old as we were. What he responded back shocked us and brought us to tears. He said, "We have been looking for older, more mature missionaries to lead a team, and I think a great place for y'all to go would be Madagascar." How did he know that was where we felt God was leading us. He didn't know, but God was confirming to us his plans. He had only whispered in our hearts. It was several months before our furlough was due, so we had plenty of time to sell our belongings, prepare to go home on a short furlough, and then spend our last 4 years on the mission field in Madagascar. It was very difficult leaving Rwanda. So many close friends. Some seemed like family. We had watched kids grow up, attended their wedding, and even went to a few funerals. One thing that happened right before we left, a church invited us to come and speak one last time. After the service, the Rwandans, received an offering for us. Over $500 came in. We were overwhelmed. They wanted us to be their missionaries to Madagascar. We were given a going-away party, and we were highly honored to be missionaries in Rwanda for the last 15 years.